Hi, I'm Holly Van Ruckel, and this is my persuasive speech. This is my audience. Okay, now I'll start. According to recyclingrevolution.com, updated in 2010, about 80,000 Hershey's Kisses are wrapped each day. That's enough aluminum foil to cover over 50 acres of land. 50 acres of land is almost 40 football fields. Just think about all that aluminum foil that could be recycled. On that note, I'm here today to tell you why we should all start recycling. First, I'm going to tell you about the problems of not recycling. Second, I'm going to tell you just how easy it is to become a recycler. And third, I'm going to tell you about the benefits of recycling. So let's begin with the lack of it. If the world doesn't start recycling soon, we're going to have a lot of problems. One of the first, or many examples, would be like in our cities. A lot of the landfills there are filling up way faster than ever expected, which is causing a lot of problems. First, where they're built at. Because they take up so much room, we can't build like businesses or schools on it or anything because they become so hazardous for so many years after. So after a landfill is capped, it can't be touched because of all the hazardous materials inside there. That causes, obviously a lot of problems, and we could serve so many other purposes for that land. Yeah, like I said, you could build so many other buildings, and instead we have to stay away from it because of its danger towards us, I guess. And you've heard probably a lot of stories about different types of chemical substances leaking into like the water systems or getting into towns and that kind of things because something happens many years later after a landfill is capped and it can leak and stuff like that, and bad things just happen. So if we reduce that, we'll obviously be reducing the danger for ourselves and for our safety. So if we don't start using these resources effectively, we're going to run out and our renewable resources are going to pretty much be gone. It's a hard fact to face, but that's pretty much how it's going to be. The rate that we're using these at is pretty ridiculous. We use way too much, way more than we have to, and pretty soon we're going to have to start paying other countries for their resources, which we already kind of do, but we're going to have to start doing it even more. Although the United States, is known for having a lot of natural resources, but at the same time, if they don't start, like changing the way we're using them, then we are going to have to start paying them a lot more money for what they have that we won't have. If you take China, for example, they are a country that is the most populated nation in the world. So, and they know it. So they do a lot of things to help the environment because they know there's such an impact on the rest of the world. So they do things like riding their bikes, and we need to also start doing those types of things. So if we don't start changing the way we're living, we won't be able to have these resources at the end of our lifetime, which obviously won't be good. So I hope I made it clear to you a few problems that we're going to have if we don't start recycling, and obviously a lot more has to be done. So if you do start recycling, you can help start saving the world. Thankfully, 2 new methods have been started, and in an article that I found by Phil B. called Phil for Humanity, updated in 2010, he talks about 2 new positive ways of getting rid of landfills as well as helping the environment. So the first idea is to mine the landfills, which are said to have large amounts of gold, copper, silver, and aluminum, which is also cheaper than getting it from traditional mines, since they'll already be in the landfills, the resources that they're trying to get. It'll also save on getting those resources as well as decreasing the growth of having to make new mines. And the second idea is to vaporize the trash, which is using a plasma arc gasification process that is already being used in Japan. There is a facility, they said, that's being built in the United States, but obviously we're going to be having to build a lot more than just one to help reduce our problem. Let's see. This is also a much cleaner way than, say, like incineration, which is the way they do it kind of now to reduce landfills. Not only us, but our environment will also benefit from recycling. You're going to be helping yourselves as well as the world. And according to the Sprint Recycling article by Mary Crowther in 2010, paper waste compromises 40% of our municipal solid waste stream. So basically, the more recycling we do, the less pollution there'll be in the water, the less pollution there'll be in the air, the less we'll have to cut down trees. So having all this less waste also means that there'll be less waste in our system, like our water systems, also in on our ditches, in the ground. There'll be less factories having to be built, so there'll be less air pollution, as well as less trees having to cut down because of we'll actually have those paper products already made. So now that you know a little bit more about how the environment will be impacted, let me tell you a little bit about how we're going to save energy by recycling as well. It is way more cost efficient to use recyclable goods than it is to make new ones from scratch. It's pretty clear. Again, according to sprintrecycling.com, it states that recycling 1 ton of new paper translates into the savings of 17 mature trees, 78.8 gallons of oil, 7,000 gallons of water, and 41,000 kilowatt hours of energy. That is a lot of saved resources. Also, according to squido.com, updated in 2010, we have higher fuel prices when we don't recycle. So going from, like I said earlier, about starting from scratch, you're going to use far more greater energy than you would if you were to just use the materials that we already have made in the first place. Think about this. You pay every week or maybe every month or whatever it is for a garbage man to come pick up your dumpster. But if you're throwing less stuff away, you'll have less stuff for the garbage man to pick up, which also is cheaper for you. So you might think that, well, then I have to have someone pick up my recycled goods, which may be true. But at the same time, there's also places like many towns and cities have a place where you can come and drop off your recycled goods. And some even give you money for the amount of, or as many bags that you bring in, or as many pop bottles or cans that you bring in, depending on which state you kind of live in. So in a way, you're helping yourself as well as, you're saving money for yourself as well as you're helping the environment by recycling. Also, recycling creates way more jobs, which helps the economy, as well as lowering the cost of goods, which is good for everyone, of course. There are so many easy ways to recycle. And if you're not sure of what to do, it's as easy as going to Google and search, ways to recycle. I actually did just that and found on easinarticles.com, updated in 2010, I found many creative ways. Some were to reuse plastic grocery bags. If you bring them into the grocery store and you fill them back up again, some grocery stores even pay you cents off per bag because you came and used your old ones from the last trip. You can spread coffee grounds and fireplace ashes in your garden to add nutrients, which is pretty cool. You can use your plastic containers, such as from your butter or your Cool Whip or something, for your leftovers, which I know many of you probably do. You can donate your clothes to charity rather than just throwing them away all the time. And lastly, you can simply keep a recycle bin next to your regular garbage, so it makes recycling that much more easier for everybody. So I hope I've given you a few ideas of just how easy it is to recycle. So let me recap a little bit about what recycling is going to do. First of all, if you're going to recycle, you'll be helping change the world, which is always good. You should start by buying a bin. You should start by buying a bin and putting it next to your trash can because, like I said, it'll make things easier. And also buy reusable or things that have already been made, such as your green products. So go green and do your 3 R's: reduce, reuse, and recycle. So that's the end of it. This is my outline. Okay, and that's my audience again. All right, the end.